No, I don't care about the organization. I care about the principle. That is what most people think about when they do things like taking a knee, when they put Black Lives Matter in a hashtag. That is what it's about. You're simply trying to undermine the very principle
but
of
Femi,
fighting against inequality.
Femi, I just want to know, because you said that if someone chose not to take the knee, you simply want to hear an explanation from them as to why. Dominic Raab explained very clearly to Julia Hartley-Brewer as to why he didn't want to take the knee, and he said the only people he would ever take the knee to for are his wife and his queen. Do you accept his explanation?
Well, his principle of kneeling before something, the idea of subjugation, that was his logic. But as I just explained, there's nothing to subjugate yourself to. It's simply a principle of opposition to police brutality and racism. So then I've got to look at, well, what other reason could he have for not wanting to do it? And I also know that he refused to condemn Trump after he said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, which is a direct quote from a well-known racist police chief from the 60s, which implies that he's not willing to take a stand against racism when he sees it, which is precisely what's consistent with refusing to take the knee.
Emma, if someone asked you to take a knee, would you do it? And if not, what would be your explanation as to why not?
I wouldn't take the knee because of, as I mentioned, the association that I think it has of a symbol of Black Lives Matter, and also because personally, my opinion is that I would probably only kneel before the Queen and God, really. And so I think that it would be just completely inappropriate. But then I'm a normal citizen, and it's also quite different for a minister or someone who's an elected representative to take the knee in that way. I think that as I said, that the political context of this is extremely important, and kneeling, I think, is not the way to go about achieving equality. As I said, it should be done shoulder to shoulder if that's what you want.
Femi, do you accept Emma's explanation as to why she won't take the knee?
By definition, it is shoulder to shoulder if we're all kneeling. Nobody's asking anybody.
Okay, but she's just given you her reason why. I understand that you think it's a very powerful thing, and I totally respect that. But Emma's given you her reasoning why. Is that acceptable?
But I'm undermining her reason why. I'm telling you, she just said that kneeling should be, that if you want equality, you should be shoulder to shoulder. And I'm making the point that if you're all kneeling together, you are shoulder to shoulder. It is a common act of opposition to a common evil. That's the point.
Fascinating debate. That is Femi Oluwole, the political commentator, and Emma Webb, the conservative commentator. Thank you so much for being here. It's our question of the day as well. Is Dominic Raab right not to take the knee? 0344 499 1000, my phone number. We'll take your calls later. Richard is in North London. Richard, Dominic Raab, was it the right thing to say? He's getting a lot of criticism over this comment.
I think he was right to say that, Dan. I am amazed at what I see taking place in Britain at the moment. I think people, whether they know what they're doing or not, they're kind of walking into or trying to create a culture war. And there's an element of revenge about this. That's what I think is sad. And you see, when I say a culture war, these issues are incredibly complex, and history is incredibly complex. But I think Mike Graham had Neil Oliver on yesterday, and Neil Oliver said that the way of life we have in the West is, in terms of the quality of life for people, the best it's ever been, because it's based upon the freedom of the individual, and it's based upon the affluence created by the capitalist system.
Well, the laughable thing is, Richard, is that Labour this week and David Lammy are trying to say it's actually the Conservative government trying to create a culture war, and I think today proves that's not the case, because Dominic Raab makes a comment that I consider totally acceptable, and it's just his personal opinion. Yet you have the entire London liberal media elite and all of the Twitterati jumping on him as if he's just said something completely inappropriate. And actually, he's just said, no, personally, I would not take the knee, which surely he has a right to do.
Well, he has a right to do that. And the thing is, Dan, this could create a tremendously... This could create a tremendous amount of bad feeling, because this is simply not the way. It's not the British way of doing things.
Richard, thank you for your call. Lee is in Milton Keynes. Lee, of course, our question of the day is over whether Dominic Raab is right not to take the knee. What do you reckon?
I think he's absolutely right to not take the knee. Yes. But
what
sounds
about
like 90% of people that have been involved in your poll also feel pretty similarly.
That's right. I mean, our poll is overwhelmingly 90% of people exactly say he is right. But of course, we just heard there from Dr. Karen Mullen, who is a Conservative MP, and he says he doesn't feel that it's about subordination, not emancipation, and actually it might feel like a really nice thing to do at a protest.
That's Dr. Kieran Mullen's personal opinion, for which he is entitled to have, isn't he? The same way.
So why are you so against it, Lee? What is it about it that you're so opposed to?
What am I opposed to? Well, I've got a number of reasons why I'm opposed to it. I'm not opposed to the overall message, which that started all this showing
equality, and we need to stamp out racism.
Absolutely. But I don't believe. I'm a middle-aged woman, and I've lived 56 years on this earth, and I've seen a lot of people who've done things that needed to be shown some respect, and I've never seen people take the knee. So to me, it seems a little of a trend and a cult, and I find that rather dangerous when you've got footballers who are influencers all taking the knee, because I think it sets a trend which really does, could be exploited. So I don't like it from that.
Well, the Labour Party leader, Sir Keir Starmer, has also taken the knee, Lee.
Well, he looked a proper Charlie when he did it, to be fair.
But he might say, well, actually, I'm raising awareness of a really, really important cause.
He's a politician, so Sir Keir Starmer was doing it for public opinion. That's what politicians do. They don't do it because necessarily that they believe in one thing or another. They do it to curry favour with a group of people. That's why politicians do all of the things that they do generally. That's my opinion. Firstly, in terms of
although Dominic Raab, he's obviously being criticised today for expressing his opinion. So this is why politicians, sometimes you have to feel sorry for them, Lee, because they're in a catch-22.
For politicians, I don't feel sorry for, unless someone's done some personal harm to politicians, I don't feel sorry for any of them. I think what we all kind of need to understand in this country, that we are either, and I'm not talking about any particular racial group here, we are either slaves or sovereign people. And for me, I'm a sovereign person, and I will not take the knee voluntarily for anybody.
Fair enough, and you're allowed to have that opinion, Lee. Thank you so much. Vernon's in Worcester. Do you back Dominic Raab, Vernon?
I do, 100%. Absolutely. We have a thing called freedom of speech in this country. It's what the country was built on. I have no problem with people taking the knee, but that's at their choice, Dan. I do not ever want to be told what I am to do.
Although no one's forcing you to do it, Vernon.
No, Dan, but I think you'll find that the riots or the march, or whatever you want to call it, take the knee was being called out, and it's becoming a bit of a trend thing. I'm a very proud Aston Villa supporter. We're not the best team in the Premiership by a long way. And if the players want to do that, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, where I do have sympathy for the players, Vernon, is could you imagine being the one player who, for whatever reason, doesn't want to take the knee? It would be really difficult.
That's very sad, isn't it? Really,
it is sad.
Very, very sad, because it means freedom of speech is coming to an end.
It is sad. Well, of course, but look at what's happened to Dominic Raab today. He's been pilloried in the mainstream media all day simply because he expressed a personal view that he didn't want to take the knee. And he's been pilloried and he's been attacked, and it's featuring, of course, on the BBC News in very judgmental tones, of course on Sky News with very judgmental tones. This is how the media operates.
But it is, and it's quite sad, Dan, at the moment, is that the media actually do not reflect the public's opinion in many cases.
Oh my goodness, I know. Absolutely.
And also with football kits, I've got not a problem. To me, every life matters. Every life from whatever background matters.
Vernon, thank you so much for your call